Live.
Okay, very good.
We got some people on. In fact, we can add them in. Let's add them in case they want to ask questions.
Okay.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to Deal Architect Live, brought
Show.
to you by brought to you by the Wolf Pack. Um, Today is our first show on the air. We'll air every Thursday evening at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So be sure to join us every week. My name is Eric Parrish, and we also have Perry Thomas. We will be your hosts each week, Deal Architects. Hence the name of the show is Deal Architect Live. Now, today's topic is your first deal in 30 days. Now, we'll be talking about that subject from the perspective, not only from our perspective as deal architects, but from the perspective of every player in the deal or every participant in the deal. So, Perry, let's get started first and talk about, I guess, what our role is, the deal architect. We're the first runners up.
Absolutely, and it's a pleasure to be here with you, Eric, and be able to educate everyone on what we're trying to accomplish. And what the folks listening need to understand is that a deal architect is somebody that's going to look at all aspects of a project. Every deal we call a project, and so as you look at that project, we have to break it down into pieces. And I often refer to it as pieces of the puzzle. But the main aspects of getting a deal done are having capital, or having the capital to make the deal done, work. We have to have, because we're talking about real estate, we have to have some type of real estate. It can be a lot, it can be a house, it can be a tract of land. So
Mm-hmm.
what we have to do is analyze it from the top down. We call it looking at it from the 30,000 foot perspective and see, does it have a place for the sewer? Is it going to be city sewer? Is it going to be septic? Is it zoned to be able to be commercial, residential? Those are just some of the things we have to look at and dissect the deal or dissect the project. And that's what the architect, as we call this deal architecture, what the architect do is analyze where is it now and where do we see the goal of it being in the finish at the end.
Excellent. Now, does this apply as well to commercial?
Yes, it does, because there's really the same aspects. With commercial, obviously, you have to have land, you have to have the utilities, and utilities are the most important thing that determine the cost of that land. Because if you're buying a tract of land that has utilities already in it, you may pay a little more because the utilities are there. Utilities being sewer, water, gas, and electric. But if you're buying a piece of land that does not have the utilities, you may think you're getting a great deal, but then you've got to install all those and you've got to pay for those costs. It could be something as simple as accessibility. How are your customers going to get to you? Does the street make it to you, or is the city or the municipality going to require you to put in that street? So
Okay.
those things that the deal architect can help you with, because they're going to answer those questions for you.
Okay. So I think it's what you're saying is it's important to point out that the deal architect sole job or primary duty is to structure the deal, whether it be commercial, whether it be short-term rentals or Airbnb as they're called, whether it be assisted living, whether it be single-family home, whether it be multifamily, doesn't matter. The process is the same
That
in
is
terms of
exactly.
structuring deal. So our job is to structure it with optimal risk. That means it fits the risk profile of every participant involved because everybody's risk profile is not the same.
That's
And
correct.
then we also have to structure it where there's max profit potential for every participant involved. And we're going to get into that because we have different roles that people play in each deal.
100%. And something that's key to what you just said is that we've got to minimize the risk by doing our research. If we're not doing our job, if the deal architect is not doing his job and he's not looking at the area, he's not doing what is called a comparable market analysis, and that holds true for residential or for commercial. He's got to know, is this project going to be successful in that social and economic environment? So
Yes.
Is there traffic to support a commercial deal? Is there drive-by traffic? Can you direct traffic to it? If it's residential and you're buying it for a rental property, what are the rental rates for that area? And what's the likelihood of someone needing to live there? Because what's the job rate around you? So our job as the deal architects are to try to minimize that risk and minimize the exposure so you don't make mistakes. That's the key.
Indeed. Indeed. I think you brought up a good point. Not every market is the same. You got your overall macroeconomics you have to consider. Of course, we have our own personal economies we have to consider. So I think the point being is that we have to structure the deal or even participate in the first place based on the current market conditions. And that's one of the jobs of the deal architect in terms of researching that particular market.
Absolutely. And one of our challenges is to have a network to allow us to do that. And that obviously, with the 40 plus years that I've spent in the real estate market, I can reach out to realtors in any city in the United States and talk intelligently to them about what I need to make a decision and give them instructions of what they need to provide me with when it comes to statistical data, just as you called it, the macro and microeconomics. I've got to be able to look at that and determine, is this a good investment? Because the worst thing that can happen is you get into your first deal and you fail because you didn't do your research.
Absolutely. And I think you bring up another point too. We have to, as deal architects, we have to have what we call our power team. It means we have realtors. I mean, the best in the business, not just anybody. We vetted them. We know how they work. They understand how we work. We have the title companies, the mortgage people, the appraisers, the inspectors, the engineers, the developers, the builders, the entire network. So no matter what type of project we're working on, we can get it done.
And most people aren't exposed to that level of intelligence in the industry. In other words, if you were to say the average person on the street, who's the engineer working on that job, they wouldn't know who to call. Whereas we talk to them every day. They're involved in every aspect of our business. We can call the realtor immediately. We can call them on their mobile phone and they're going to answer. And as you said already, we're dealing with the best of the best.
Exactly. It's funny. Just today, and yesterday we closed on a couple of lots and everything. We had to meet with our title companies. We talked to the lenders. We talked to the architects. Met with a builder today. We met with our builders yesterday. So we, like you said, we talk to these people day in and day out. They understand what we do. We understand what they do. And again, they have to be good at what they do.
And something else to keep in mind too, Eric, is because they're experts in their field. So these realtors are finding us deals. So for those that are listening and say, I don't know how to be a deal architect, you don't have to be. We have people that can help you with that. If you just want to get started in the business, like we talked about, doing your first deal in 30 days, and you tell us by going to the Wolfpack and you communicate with us on what you want to accomplish, what is your goal, we can take that and you're one of the pieces of the puzzle. So you can fill one of those roles. And it may be that you're going to be a wholesaler or that you're going to be a mortgage ready landlord, whatever it might be. And we're going to define those better in a few moments. But these realtors that we work with all across the country are feeding us deals every day.
Absolutely.
I get emails, I get text messages, I get phone calls every day, 2 or 3 deals pushed my way. And we need the team around us to be able to support us to do these deals after we vet them, as you stated, and we determine which ones we want to do.
Absolutely. Speaking of that, again, this is the Deal Architect Live show brought to you by the Wolfpack. So what you need to do if you're new looking at this, go to thewolfpack.co, not com, thewolfpack.co. And I need to have that on the screen. That's why I'm slacking at. But anyway, that's where you go. Join the Wolfpack. It's a community of real estate investors and home buyers where we collaborate to get deals done that we couldn't dream of getting done on our own. We are much stronger together than we are individually. And that's why we call ourselves the Wolfpack. And if you notice, we spell pack, P-A-C-T, not P-A-C-K. Little play of the words there. So
what that does, that opens the door for anybody that says, I only have 20,000, I only have 10,000, maybe I have 50,000, whatever that number is. Don't feel you're
or I'll have anything.
That's right. You have nothing, but you want
everybody can get started.
That's right. You got to start somewhere. We're trying to get you to take that first step. And all you've got to do is sign up at the Wolfpack and communicate with us. Tell us what your goals are. That's the thing that we're looking for is long-term growth. We want to help you with your goals long-term. And the only way we do that is you've got to be open and honest with us and tell us what those goals are, and we help you get there.
Absolutely. In the Wolf Pack, you can communicate and tell us what you want, what you need to happen, and we will guide you in the direction you need to go. No matter what your financial situation is, you can always get started in one of the roles. And with that said, let's start talking about the different roles that people can play inside of a real estate deal. Now, we've already talked about our role as deal architects. We have 4 more to cover, and there's a total of 5. And the next one we'll get started with is, let's talk about the wholesaler, because that's the person that it's important to know. If you don't have any resources, any money, any credit, nothing, this is where you start. You either have to bring, we'll show you how to bring deals to the table or bring members to the table inside the Wolf Pack to help grow the mastermind group that you'll be a part of. We'll talk about that shortly, to earn profits so you can have the resources to move further and play other roles in the deal. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Understand too, completely, what Eric's describing is 100% correct. Everyone, every single human being on the face of this earth, unless you live on an island and you've never come in contact with another human being, every one of us is a wholesaler. Because all that is, somebody who needs something or that has something. That's it. So if you talk to anybody, you come in contact with another human being, they are part of your network. They're a resource to you. So an example, do you know someone in your family or one of your friends that owns a lot that they either inherited or they bought years ago, or that when they bought their existing home, it was attached next door and they've been mowing it for all these years, and they've always wondered, can I turn that lot into a performing asset? So it's really just having a network. It's just talking to people. If you're at church or you're at a Bible study or you're at a baseball game and you start asking them if they want, you talk to your friends. Have you ever thought about moving? Have you ever thought about buying another house? Have you thought about buying a rental property, something of that?
Exactly.
That's all you're trying to do, is get people to talk to you.
Exactly. I just wanted to make that point. You make a good point. Now, it's not just about the real estate, the lot, the house, the building, or whatever. It's also about the people that are like-minded and want to work with a community to help create long-term wealth with real estate. So you can earn profits by bringing deals to the table and also new members to the table. And you can earn profits on the deals that they participate in. And that's called wholesaling.
And it's amazing, Eric, people fail to realize this, especially because what we're doing right now, and we're in 2 different cities, but we're talking through a computer, but it's still a people business. Real estate has always been a people business and always will be. And when you talk about collaboration, that's the key. It's people communicating. Collaboration is just working together. So all we're trying to do is help you understand by talking to your friends, talking to the people that you work with, talking to your neighbors and so forth. Just ask them, have you ever thought about changing something in your life, whether it be renting, selling, buying, whatever it is? That's collaboration, and that's what the Wolf Pack does.
Right. So that's the role of the wholesaler. Let's move on to one of the next ones now. Again, that's for individuals that want to play a little bit more active role. In fact, you have to, because some of us have to, because we don't have 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 sitting around that we can use at this time. And we can't qualify for financing, things like that. But we do have a personal network. And if we don't have one, go get one.
All you've got to do is talk to people.
That's it. That's it. And invite them to the Wolf Pack. It's free. And all we want to do is work together to get farther down the road than we could on our own. Exactly. It's as simple as that. Okay. So now let's talk about the next role of the 4 is a mortgage-ready landlord. Now, this individual brings what we call leveraging power to the table. They can go to the mortgage company and qualify for an investor mortgage. Now, there's a key word, investor mortgage, not a home mortgage. It's entirely different. One is owner-occupied, the other is non-owner-occupied, and the qualifications are quite different for the 2.
And the down payments are different. Now, the good thing is the interest rates, depending upon the mortgage company you go with, The interest rates are pretty similar and they're very low. I was talking with
Well,
the yesterday, they're as low as 3%.
well, typically if you're going to you're probably going to end up paying 3/4, at least a half a point or a half percent, or up to a half to a 1% more for the unoccupied mortgage or the investment mortgage, simply because it's a much riskier loan for the lender than the homeowner occupied. So it's a slightly bit higher.
When you put it in perspective, I mean, whether it's 3, 4, or 5%, that's still significantly lower
Oh
than
yeah.
years.
Oh yeah.
So it's definitely, but that it just as one of the phrases that Eric used was leverage. What that does is it allows you to buy more property to make larger investments without using your capital. And all that is,
Absolutely.
the fact is that you've done a good job with your credit. You've got a good credit score. You paid your bills on time, things of that nature. So you've got buying power. That's really what it is. You've got buying power, and we can utilize that and help you buy investment properties, and we can even help you with the down payment and so forth.
Now, as a mortgage ready landlord, the first thing we teach, of course, is always look at the risk. Now, leverage is a double-edged sword. It can help you or can destroy you. Of course, we look at the risk. So one of the benefits of working within the Wolfpack is that we spread the risk among multiple participants. So you're not shouldering all the risk by yourself, first of all, without diminishing the return on investment. And most importantly, so we like to sell the house before we even buy it or build it. Now, you cannot get any less riskier than that. We call that reverse wholesaling. So just wanted to point out, when you're playing this role, we are definitely going to guide you and looking at the risk first and reducing that risk in ways that you never dreamed you could, and you couldn't without doing it using the Wolfpack method before you engage or execute that project.
And it all ties back to what we said early on about having that network, because we've got that group of realtors, we've got that group of other uh, private equity partners with us, all in the Wolfpack. We've got everybody working towards a common goal, and that's moving product. So that's, as Eric said, we can have that home pre-sold. We can have it pre-sold before you ever get involved in it. All we need to do is provide a lender to be able to finance it, to leverage our capital, and that's how the realtors help us. And as he said before, we deal with the best of the best. The realtor that we work with on a daily basis, I talk to him 6 or 7 days a week, is the #1 rated realtor in social media in the state of Texas and in the top 5 in North America. He has a
Indeed.
tremendous outreach.
Absolutely. Okay, so before we move to the next one, I did want to point out the ideal profile of the mortgage ready landlord. Again, we said that this individual can qualify for an investor mortgage, and they typically, the ideal guidelines, and this is not written in stone, it could be less. We can, we can get creative and use less than this, but this is ideal. This individual has a household income of ideally between $125,000 to $400,000 a year. Okay. Uh, and they have a credit score of 700 plus. They have discretionary funds to put down of 50,000 or more, ideally. And here's the key: the debt to income ratio, meaning how much monthly debt they can carry, ideally, is no more than 33% of their gross household income. Meaning, if they make $10,000 a month, then they can carry no more than $3,300 in debt, including their house payment. So that leaves enough for another payment, to qualify for another payment if need be, which qualifies them for that second home or their investment property.
And look at it this way also, for everybody listening, is you don't have to sit down and do all these calculations. We have companies that will easily pre-qualify you or tell you where you're off, where you're light, where you need to fix these things. And we have credit repair companies we work with. But again, it goes back to what we said at the beginning. We have our network, we have our power team. And if this is something you would like to work towards, or you don't know, most people don't even know where they stand today. They don't know how to sit down and do all the calculations that Eric just discussed. But it probably at no cost or very little cost, if any at all, we can get you pre-approved through a mortgage company and have them run the ratios and educate you on where you're at. and if need be, educate you on how you can improve things, how you can pay off these credit cards, which will raise your overall credit score, and will help your debt to equity ratios.
And
So
all of that's available in the Wolf Pack.
100%. You go through the Wolf Pack and we will direct you to that. And also keep this in mind. Most of the time, he talked about 125,000 to 400,000, and that sounds like a big range. But keep this in mind too. Not every home that we're building is going to require that $400,000 income. There are times we're going to come across a home that's going to be a $70,000, $80,000 home. Those are going to be fewer and far between. But because people in the Wolf Pack that need a home and are not able to buy it today, they might need a mortgage-ready landlord to help them purchase that home and do a lease back program, a lease to own, which is something else the deal architect would formulate for you and would manage to help you eventually sell that home to that individual. So not every home is going to require you to make $125,000. That's
Right.
ideal. But
Yes, that's ideal.
it is ideal. But if you think I might want to do this, I just don't know where I qualify, again, go to Wolfpack, put a question in there. There's a way to communicate. When you go into the Wolfpack and you put a question in, one of us is going to respond to it. Eric typically monitors it. And if it's something that he needs to direct, he'll contact me. I had a gentleman asking about what it costs to tear down a house about a week ago. He said, if I wanted to buy this project, but I got to tear down a house, how much should I include in that? Of course, I've done many tear downs. And so I gave him some ranges and said, based upon the foundation, based upon the city, here's where it's going to be. If those are questions that you need answered, or you don't even know the question to ask, just go to the Wolfpack,
Yeah.
put in a question, and we'll get back to you on it.
Sure. Okay. So that is the mortgage ready landlord. So far we've talked about the deal architect, which is what we do. Then we talked about the wholesaler. Then we talked about the mortgage ready landlord. We have two more left. We're going to save the homebuyer partner for last. So the next one we're going to talk about is the joint venture partner. Now, I use the word leveraging power for the mortgage ready landlord. Here is where we use the word buying power. See, we say leverage, it's buying power too, but we're using OPM, whereas buying power can include cash, or cash reserves. So that's how we use those two words: leveraging power for the MRA or the mortgage ready landlord, or buying power for the JV partner. Now, so that's our cash partner. Let's talk about that just a little bit while I give everybody the Wolfpack address again.
And keep this in mind too when it comes to cash, because you don't have to have $150,000 in cash. You don't have to have $50,000 in cash. We closed on a transaction yesterday, excuse me, on a $35,000 lot. So we had somebody, it was a Mexican individual, and he was in his 80s, and he's got a little extra capital, and he wanted to make a return, and he bought a lot along with us for $35,000. And then what we do, because again, with the deal architecture behind that, we put a plan on it, we market it, we sell it, we then get another partner to help us get it built and do the vertical to get it constructed, and then we sell it and we share in the profits. And so we have opportunities like that at every price point across the spectrum.
Absolutely. So that individual yesterday bought, he's part of our land bank. So
Yes.
he used his capital to buy the land and bank it for us until we get ready to build on it. And in exchange for that participation, he gets a return on investment.
And so anyone that doesn't understand that, they may say, well, why would you do that? We don't want to go and use all of our capital to land bank or to sit on as many lots as we need to be able to market. But we want to control our future. Just as Eric talks about, this is a long-term investment. What the worst thing that can happen to you is that you don't control the lot. You start trying to market it, you start getting buyers interested in it, and the landowner sells it to somebody else, and you've done all the work. So what we do is we have a group of investors that buy that lot for us, and they have an agreement directly where they sell it back to Eric and I, and then we hire the builder to go build the house. But in the meantime, we've done all the market study. We know where the lot is. We know what the market is. We know what the size of the home we need to build. I have architects and engineers that design it for us. We get the home sold, just as Eric said, we sell it first. And then you can either be a joint venture partner and stay in on the deal after that lot and share in the end profit, or if you want to be released from any risk associated with that. Then you sell that lot to the building company or to us. You make your smaller return, but you're out, and then you roll that to another lot, and we build the house. And something else we talk about often, and I know that Eric will touch on this, is trying to avoid capital gains taxes. We're turning your money. Again, we're looking at long term. So our goal is to help you build wealth over time. So if you make $10,000 profit on this lot, we don't want you to take that $10,000 and take it out and pay taxes on it and only get $7,000 net. We want you to roll all $10,000 through what is called a 1031 exchange. We can explain that at a later date, but you roll that into another lot and you avoid paying capital gains. Then you make another $10,000 and you roll that full $20,000 because you made $10,000 on the first, $10,000 on the second. You keep rolling it and keep buying more lots and more lots. And over time, as part of the Wolf Pack, you'll say to us, I've got 50,000, 60,000, 40,000, whatever the number is, I need to invest. And then we, the deal architects, will go find those lots, make them available to you, and you can continue to roll that money.
Yeah, and that's just one way to structure a deal. There are many ways. I mean, we have what we call the Wolfpack Real Estate Mastermind Playbook for all of our members in the Wolfpack. And by the way, let me back up a little bit. We all have what we call an A plan. A plan is short for an asset accumulation plan. We believe in accumulating assets, tangible assets. You know, we deal in real estate. We like gold and we like silver. But as we accumulate those assets and we create our A plan, we'll know which strategies from the playbook that makes sense for us. Every strategy doesn't make sense for every member. So the point being is that all of us will have a plan, knowing which strategies we need to use, and one of those may be the land bank strategy that we talked about, but it may be something else. That's all I'm saying. Don't get hung up on any one strategy that we talk about.
Yeah, because as Eric mentioned from the beginning, this involves every aspect of home building. So whether it's a used home, a new home, a commercial property, a multifamily, which means apartment complexes, duplexes, triplexes, you know, whatever it might be, single family residential, we do it all. And you can participate in every part of it because every aspect of everything we're talking about is critical to the overall team succeeding. And so you don't have to play a huge role. And just as Eric said, also, we minimize the risk by spreading it out over more participants. You're not the only one that is on the line for that to succeed. And as long as we're doing our jobs, we will not fail. We will succeed.
Absolutely. That's important to revisit one more time, the risk. You know, we spread the risk among multiple participants. So because in the past, it even happened to me several times. You know, I try to do the whole deal myself. I get the mortgage, I put the money down, you know, and get stretched out too thin. And one deal goes bad, you know, the whole ship just explodes because I took on all the risk by myself. Now, in the Wolfpack, and that's where this comes from, in the Wolfpack, there are at least 2, maybe 4, or even more, sharing that risk with you, and without diminishing the return you expect. So now, if something goes wrong, we have a much better shot, higher probability of weathering that storm, adjusting and fixing that problem, much more so than if we were by ourselves. Take it from the horse's mouth.
We've all been there. We all lived through 2008. That's years ago. But keep this in mind too. Look at one deal. You could have a Wolfpack member that does the land bank, that helps buy the lot. Mm-hmm. A separate Wolfpack member that helps do the vertical, build the house, or purchase.
Exactly. The construction loan, you know, the loan.
You could have another Wolfpack member that does the mortgage ready lender portion of it.
Absolutely.
Because they're buying the end product.
Exactly.
You could even have a joint venture partner, because if that home happens to be you can rent it or as a model home.
Absolutely.
These builders that have the flags out in front of the model homes, they have all the furnishings inside, they have the landscaping and so forth. I'm here to tell you, because I've done this, I've built hundreds, if not millions of homes over the 41 years in this business. And most of those models are owned by people just like you.
Absolutely. We just did one. We just did one 2 weeks ago. Bought one, and the builder bought it back from us. I mean, at least it back from us. So the model home, that is.
And so think about it now. You've bought a model home that's going to be kept in tip-top shape because that's the marketing arm of that builder. He's got to put his best foot forward every day. He's going to keep that in tip-top shape. He's not charging you when he's got to paint touch up a wall because some kid came in and put his hand on the wall. He's not going to charge you if somebody tracks mud in. With the return, the one that we just did 2 weeks ago, that bought that, who's a Wolfpack member, $30,000 in equity the day he closed, because the homes right next door to it are selling now for $30,000 more. And I met with that builder yesterday. That's one of the builders that's part of our land bank. And that builder told me he's raising prices on the next section another $20,000. So by the time that model home gets sold, because of the market we're in today, the gentleman in the Wolfpack that bought that model could make $50,000 to $60,000.
Absolutely.
It could be just in a matter of months. Could be 12 to 18 months.
And to refer back to a point we made previously, this happens to be the market for that to happen. It's not always like that. This is the hottest market I have ever witnessed in my 30 plus years in the business. You got more than me, so I'm sure you can agree.
100%. As a matter of fact, you're exactly right. On the average, when I did these models in the past, I used to have many as 18 models at one time in Houston, Texas, and I had investors that owned all of them, and they would average between $20,000 to $25,000 net return on that model after, of course, and that's the profit they made from the original sales price to the end. And that doesn't include all the money they made on the rent, on the lease back. But that was $25,000. This gentleman we just spoke about, he made $30,000 from contract to close. So before he even closed on it, because we knew the market was growing, and Eric and I put this gentleman on this contract 3 months before he closed on it, or 4 months before it was completed. He made $30,000 from contract to close.
Yeah.
So this is by far the best market anyone has ever seen in the history of the United States.
Absolutely. Well, it's certainly better than any market that I've seen. So, but again, the point is, we have to recognize what type of market we're in. As deal architects, you depend on us to do that, and then we structure the deals accordingly. Now, so we've already discussed the deal architect, which is what we do, the wholesaler, the mortgage-ready landlord, and we're talking about now the joint venture partner who brings the buying power to the table. So
we've been talking mostly about structures, about residential, or about vertical, about houses, but we also can do this with land, because I've got deals up just south of Dallas I'm looking at. I've got deals in Baton Rouge, Louisiana I'm looking at, Austin, San Antonio, Houston. There are land deals out there that are not developed yet. So depending upon the timeline that you want to take your capital and turn it into larger growth, we can buy tracts of land, and then we put in the lots, we put in the utilities, we put in the infrastructure, and then we sell those lots to our land bank.
Yeah. What you did, let me try to simplify that just a little bit, if I may. It's interesting. What we do is we get the land. We can even develop it, because we want to develop land. We want to stay out ahead of our builders. We have builders that are part of the Wolfpack as well. So that we are part of our franchise program, that we own a piece of the builders too. So as they're doing projects for us, we have developers in the Wolfpack that develop lots so we can have a future lots to build on. That's crucial. So we develop the lots and then wholesale them to ourselves.
Yeah. So keep that in mind. Think about that. Talk about controlling your future. We have the developer already as part of our Wolfpack that is willing to develop it for our builders. So we're buying the land, we're putting the lots on the ground, wholesaling them to our builders. Then we help the builder, because of my background, we do consulting with that builder. We help that builder. We sell the houses, market the houses for the builder because of our network. Then when that house closes, we share on the backside in the profits of the house.
Absolutely. And sometimes we buy them ourselves. So we wholesale the lots to ourselves, and then we wholesale the houses to ourselves, all inside the Wolfpack. When you control the entire distribution chain, that's when, you're looking like Amazon and Walmart, and that's what you want to do. You want to keep it all in house so you can adjust and maneuver, because things change. The plans, don't always go the way you want them to. But if you control everything like that, and you're not shouldering all the risk yourself, then you increase the odds of success exponentially.
And let me plant a seed with everybody listening, because this happened to me this past Monday. The group over in Baton Rouge, one of the listeners said, but I need a new home. I want you to build me a new home, but I also need a rental property. How do I do that? And we decided you need to buy a duplex. We're developing duplexes in Baton Rouge. And now she's looking at she's going to buy the duplex unit. So that's 2 units in one shell, one house. She's going to live in one side. She's going to rent out the other side. And the rent profit she's going to make will be enough to help offset part of her cost to own the overall project. And every month that tenant is paying their rent, she's gaining more equity, and they're paying down her note. And
Absolutely.
She's of it and renting the other half. So
that's a great strategy.
Another strategy.
That's a great strategy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's just one of 1,000 ways you can do it. And that's what we do as Deal Architects. Now, so we just talked about the joint venture partner. We have one role left inside the Wolfpack method, and that is the home buyer partner. Now, AKA tenant. Now, inside the Wolfpack, even the tenants, now we don't refer to them as tenants because they're partners in the deal as well.
They're members
to us. And that's what's unique about us. Even tenants make money in this ecosystem that we created. Nowhere on the planet have I discovered any other method where the tenants make money in the deal.
So think about it, because too often people in real estate, myself included, we tend to tell people don't lease because you're not gaining any equity. What Eric's describing is, if you're not ready to buy yet and you need assistance and you need to lease, then do it through our program so that as you're leasing, you're still gaining equity in the property.
Absolutely. You're making money. And you have the home buyer partners, or AKA tenants, they have an A plan too, asset accumulation plan. They just have one stop prior to the things that we're doing, which is to buy the home to live in.
Yep.
So
everyone takes a part in that, because there are rental communities now that are happening all over the United States.
Oh man, don't even get me started on that.
That's the biggest market that national builders have tapped into to date, is now they're building rental homes.
That's a whole nother show right up here. We're going to do that because Absolutely. Wall Street has moved in beside us. They're building whole communities. I mean, whole subdivisions for rental properties, turning them into multi-family projects, and then leasing them all out and then selling them to the hedge funds for crazy money.
And the advantage that we have is that they do that on a large scale. They're not looking at anything less than usually 500 to 600 acres, sometimes in the thousands of acres. We can do this with 1 acre, depending upon where we're
Absolutely. At. Right now we're nimble. We can do it small, but one day, not too far in the future, we're going to be able to compete with them, because we're going to have thousands of members in the Wolfpack. We're going to be able to do that. So just plant that seed.
Absolutely. And that's called collaboration. There's power in numbers. That's what that
Absolutely.
Power in numbers.
Okay. So the home buyer partner, I know what you're thinking. You're saying, wow, how can I make money? How does that work? So we have 2 programs within the Real Estate Mastermind Playbook, utilizing the Wolfpack method. One is called the Home Now program. That's a lease purchase program. The other one's called the Owner Finance program. And that's where we, or Wolfpack members, buy the home and then finance it for you on the finance. In other words, they play the bank a lot easier without all the restrictions than Wells Fargo and JP Morgan Chase. And then at some point, and the interest rate is a tad bit higher, not ridiculous, maybe 6.5%, 7%, something like that. And then you can refi later with cheaper money. But the point is, you get in now, you start building equity, and now as a part of your A plan, you've got that done. Now you can look to acquire more real estate and other tangible assets, just like everybody else. And if you're in the lease purchase program, another Wolfpack member, maybe a mortgage-ready landlord and or a JV partner, will buy that house, lease purchase it to you, because within your A plan, you will know exactly when you'll be able to close. We can give you a closing date. So we have confidence in your partner in the deal as well. And then you can close on it, or buy something else. Point is, you will make money in that deal as a part of your plan, to accumulate assets, starting with that house or another one, just like everybody else.
And it's all it involves is taking that first step. You've got to put yourself in motion. You got to get off the couch. You got to get in the game. And by joining the Wolf Pack, and make sure that, just as he stated earlier, it's Wolf Packed with a T. So WOLFPACT.
Let me put it up there.
Yeah,
right there.
Maybe there now. So
thewolfpack.co.
Make sure that you join that, and make sure that you ask these questions, because everyone can participate. And we can put you in a situation where you're paying rent on a house that you will own in the future. That's part of the goal.
And make money on it. Absolutely.
At the same time. And
absolutely.
Anyone can do that. That's building your credit. We have credit repair companies we've met with that can help you and educate you on what you've got to do to get your credit right to be able to buy a home. And just as Eric said, once they do an analysis of where you stand today, and they give you kind of a report card or a scorecard of where you are today, they will be able to project at what point in time in the future will you fall into a different category, and at what point in time will you be able to buy that house. But we don't want you to wait until that time to move in. We can let you move in now through one of our other programs, and now you're paying rent on the house that you're going to own. Simple as
right. That. So we've covered all 5 roles. And again, we want encourage everybody to join the Wolf Pack and get your A plan so you can start accumulating assets, tangible assets, starting today, not tomorrow, but today.
No cost associated with it, no cost affiliated with it. We've expanded not just real estate, we've also expanded now to gold and silver. And anyone, this is something that has been introduced to me recently, anyone can buy gold and silver, and it is an asset. It's another tangible asset that you can hold on to, and it will gain value. Because it is, let's face it, it is gold.
It's silver. The real money. It's the only real money out there. And you can buy, now the game is open to us all. We can buy $2 worth if we want to. So it's not out of reach anymore. But we'll say that for another show.
That'll be a whole nother show. But we just want to plant
Absolutely.
that, because there is a tab, there is an opportunity for you to go to the Wolf Pack and be able to understand that and learn about that. So
absolutely.
It doesn't matter how much money you have now, or how much money you hope to have in the future, or how much money you don't think you have now. You can participate just by going to the Wolf Pack.
Absolutely. The key is half the game is just taking that first step. 50% of the battle.
Yogi Berra, who was he's a Hall of Fame baseball player. He was a catcher for the New York Yankees.
There we go with the baseball. Now I forgot to mention he's a baseball fan. Come on.
But his quote was this: half of winning is just showing up.
Simple. Absolutely.
All you got to do is show up. And that's all we're asking you to do is show up. Show up in something. That's swinging the bat. So swing the bat and let's hit the ball and put it in motion. So
let's talk a little bit about, we got maybe 15 minutes or so left in the show. So let's talk about that first deal, and we'll describe a scenario and try to include everybody and describe what would I do from start to finish to get in my first deal. In 30 days. We like to say that in 30 days because everybody can do it, even if you're starting from zero. And we'll describe that. And so if I'm coming in, I join the Wolf Pack, it's free. I get my profile, and it's like our own Facebook without all the distractions and things like that. I click on the welcome tab, and I follow the instructions and everything, and I get in what we call Project Q. So let's describe the process for each player. Once I join, the first thing, I create my A plan, and the first thing I have to do is decide which role do I that makes sense for me. Now we can play multiple roles down the road. In fact, that's one way we accelerate our plan to hit that we call our millionaire real estate investor roadmap. So we can accelerate that plan by playing multiple roles, but it's recommended in the beginning to choose the primary role that you're going to begin with. So I can tell you right now, if you don't have money to put into a project, to be a JV partner, if you can't qualify for financing, you can't be a mortgage ready landlord, you're not interested in buying a home, then you have 2 options. That's a wholesaler or a deal architect like us. See, the deal architect brings the expertise to the table. So that means you have to join the Wolf Pack and begin learning the craft of deal architecture like we do. And we most certainly will be there to teach you that. You'll learn it along, over time. But meanwhile, you'll play the role of wholesaler.
And
You
that's
either,
or
go ahead.
talk about the wholesaler. Everyone that has a voice is a wholesaler because all
Mhm.
you do is communicate. It's called the sphere of influence. It's people that are around you, anybody you come in contact with. It can be the people. I've sold homes before or gotten people involved that were waiters or waitresses at my table at a restaurant, or someone waits on you at a Walmart. I ask them when I'm talking when I'm doing my research. I go into the Walmart in the community and I ask them, what do you know about this community over here? Do you know anybody that lives in there? And everybody knows somebody. You just get them
Mhm.
talking. A wholesaler,
Absolutely.
one that has a voice. That's it.
Absolutely. So the only difference between the wholesaler and the deal architect is that they both put deals together or find properties or build mastermind groups to invest in properties. But the deal architect is learning the craft of deal architecture. Now, if you don't want to learn that, that's fine. You could just stop right there at wholesaler, generate enough profits, create enough profits so you can play some other roles. And you say, I don't want to learn that. That doesn't interest me. That's fine. And just point out the difference between the two. They're both wholesale. They both bring projects to the table. They both bring members to the mastermind group. But one wants to learn the craft, the deal architecture stuff that we're talking about now. And we'll be talking about, by the way, every Thursday at
Yep.
6:30 on this show called The Deal Architect Live, brought to you by the Wolf Pack. Okay.
But remember that takes time. So don't say to yourself, I'll never understand how to develop a land. Through osmosis, through being a part of the wolf pack, by watching this show and by listening to us, you're going to learn how to do these things. But everyone can be a wholesaler initially. So bring us the deals. We'll walk you through the deals. We'll help educate you on how the deal works in the process. And at the same time, we'll provide you with the tools that we need to get the deal done. That's how you learn how to be a deal architect.
Absolutely. And so we were talking about that A plan. So if you want to be a little bit more active and you want to learn the craft, or you don't have the resources and you still want to make money in real estate, wholesaler or deal architect is the way to go. Now, if you uh, meet the guidelines of the mortgage ready landlord, and it's all in the Wolf Pack. These descriptions of what it takes to play whatever role, it's in there. But if you're mortgage ready landlord, then that's when how you get started is you get with one of our power team, the lenders, and get pre-qualified or pre-approved without pulling a hard inquiry on your credit, and get in project queue. Once they give us that letter, then you get in queue. Now you're ready for your first deal. At that point, a deal architect, you'll be a part of a mastermind group. We have several and many to come. If you're not already a member, a deal architect will then give you a project to consider,
And
and
keep
it will meet your criteria.
what we talked about was how do you get started and how do you go through the process. So you think about it. What we did yesterday, we closed on two lots. One was 35,000, one was 45,000. That's the first deal. That's your first deal in 30 days. You could have been a part of that process in purchasing those lots. You could have just been the person that brought us the lot and said, there's
Absolutely.
a lot down the street from us. You
Or
could
it
say,
could have been a member of your mastermind group, because our wholesalers and deal architects have their own mastermind groups.
yeah, if you live in a neighborhood today and you're driving by empty lots that are not getting mowed on a regular schedule, or your kids are playing baseball on the corner lot down the street, and you want to know how do I get involved in that, all you've got to do is go on to Wolfpack and tell us about that lot. Give us a street, give us an intersection. With today's technology, we go to Google Earth and look at it. We can identify it. I can get with one of my realtors. We'll find out who owns it, who's on the tax roll, what it's valued at. How do we get in touch with them? And we'll go buy that lot and you'll be rewarded for that.
Absolutely. That's called wholesaling.
Absolutely. We do it every day.
Or you may know somebody interested in real estate. They become a JV partner. They become an MRL, and you'll get rewarded for the deals that they participate in. That's called wholesaling.
And that's called
Okay.
doing your first deal. That's
Absolutely. And
that's
once we get all the participants on a deal and the project decided and get it under contract, now you got a deal in the pipeline. That's all we're talking about. Get a deal in the pipeline. It might not close for 90 days, but at least you got it in the pipeline. And that's what we mean by your first deal in 30 days, one in the pipeline.
Yeah.
And then we just keep going from there.
And I know, I'm an old guy. I hear this term all the time about being in the queue. Being in the queue means, in my book, that means you've got it teed up, ready to go for somebody to hit it down the middle of the fairway, or off the tee for baseball. But when it's queued up, that's in the pipeline. So we know what, so you're telling us, and now the Wolfpack's looking at it, and we will advertise that project just as we've done before. When you go, for example, you see that lot I mentioned earlier, take a picture of it and post a picture of that lot with the information on the Wolfpack. And then we will go look at it, and there'll be people that will be wanting to joint venture with you immediately, because once we do the research, they'll know what can be done there. And trust me, we're the visionaries that can make that dream come true and put it in motion. That's the gift that God gave us. That's what we do.
And for those who want to learn the craft, while we're putting that deal together and while we're executing that deal, we're teaching you in real time along the way. And if you want to learn the craft, that's the best way to do it. No better way to learn than in real time and making money while you're doing it. No better way.
And you learn every night, every Thursday night at 6:30. And as we have conversations and things that we'll be posting, because now we have the ability to post those photographs and post the progress and show the success. All you have to do is dial in the Wolfpack and you'll see it. You'll understand it. You'll learn about it.
Yeah, things about to get really ramped up now. We got a lot of things coming through the pipeline. Be sure to attend the Deal Architect Live every week at Thursday at 6:30 p.m. And we're going to have there's a different link that'll be posted, and you'll be able to put your questions in and things like that. We got everybody as a guest right now, but soon we'll have hundreds and thousands of people where you'll be able to chat, put your deals in, and you can go to dealarchitectlive.com and put the questions or the topics in that you want us to discuss. You can put the deals in that you're thinking about, or a scenario that you want us to chop up and structure and show how we would approach that deal and put it together. And so that's what this show is about. We're going to teach you how we do and what we do, and so you're comfortable not only putting deals together, and for those of you who don't want to do that, you're comfortable participating in the deals because you've seen it done and structured in many ways over and over again.
And no question is wrong. No question is too small. No
Absolutely
question.
Not.
As Eric said, he's done this over 30 years. I've done this over 40 years. We got 70 years combined. There's probably very few things that we haven't done or seen. And even if there's something we don't know, we know somebody that does know.
Absolutely. I always say, stay in your lane now.
Right.
We got people, the power team, we're not going to talk legalities. Now we'll talk, summarily about different things, but when it comes to specifics about taxes, legal stuff, we're going to stay in our lane. We have people for that.
That's right. So that's another point, is that if you go to the Wolfpack, you can put questions there also about the Deal Architect Live. You can ask questions and say, I'd like you to cover this, because we have ideas that we're going to be covering, but we want those ideas to be yours. So we want to answer your questions. And just as Eric said, we don't have the live chat up tonight, but we will in the future. But in the meantime, send us messages through the Wolfpack and tell us what you'd like us to cover. And we'll be happy to do that, because again, there's a lot of things we can do, and we're doing this to educate you, to make you a stronger investor, and to give you more value. We want you to have more value in your ability to create deals.
Absolutely. And again, it's our job as deal architects is to structure deals with optimal risk and max profit potential for every participant involved. And that's what, we refuse to execute and engage a deal unless everybody wins, including the tenant when there's it's ever practical. We will get them paid because they have a plan too. They just have a home to get before they get started with the rest of the journey.
And these are all things that other people that have done in the past have not shared with the normal people out there, just the common folk like ourselves. The people, the wealthy, have always maintained the wealth because they make money off everybody else. We don't want to do that. We want to share the wealth. We want to share in the profits. We want to educate you, make you more dangerous, make you more of an entrepreneur, even though you keep your day job, even though you still maintain the same lifestyle that you have now. We want to improve that long term.
Absolutely. We're here to create long-term wealth. So Again, you'll have your asset accumulation plan. We specialize in tangible assets. Real estate is a tangible asset. Gold is a tangible asset. Silver is a tangible asset. We can touch it with our hands. And now we've leveled the playing field in real estate. Even tenants can make money. In the gold and silver markets, the playing field has been leveled. We can buy 50 cents worth of gold now if you want to. The important thing is we need to get started today.
And keep in mind, there's nothing better than the feeling you get when you have that lot that I mentioned early on in the program. That's that corner lot where the kid wasn't getting mowed, and you initiated the communication and you put it in motion, and someone's home gets built there, and you see kids playing on that lot at a later date. There's nothing better feeling inside than knowing that you helped that happen. It's a great feeling.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're going to start wrapping up. Man, time just flew today, but again, in the future, you'll be able to put your questions in chat, and we'll start answering those questions. We'll start, chopping up the deals and structuring them and letting everybody learn from all of that. But for between now and next week, put your questions in the Wolfpack. Put the topics you want to learn about. Put any deals you want to do there, and let's start communicating on a regular basis in the Wolfpack, and just feel comfortable to share your experiences around what we're doing, because we've got a lot of Wolfpack members participating in a lot of deals. We got people creating cash flow left and right, and we will be announcing that kind of stuff. We're just getting started. As you know, we're migrating all of the members over, so we're getting everybody a chance to get over, and then we'll kick it off. But today's our first show, and it'll happen every Thursday at 6:30. We want you to be here and participate and share those experiences with us, and let's grow together.
And we want to recognize your successes. One of the guests that we plan on having each week as we continue to grow this program is to recognize the people that are making things happen and put you on the show and let you tell your story. You can tell people about how you did it and how it worked. So feel free to be able to ask questions about what we can do, and we'll have you speaking for us also.
Absolutely. So, Perry, that's it. We time just flew by. I don't understand where it went. We've been on the whole hour. We're going to wrap up. Remember, it's on the show. Put it out on social media, thewolfpack.co, so people can join. And those of you who are interested in learning the craft, we want you to sign up for Deal Architecture Mastermind Group. Wholesalers, we want you to sign up for that. And the rest of you who are playing other roles, go through the process that is outlined in the welcome area of the Wolfpack and get in queue to get started with your first deal today.
So we've already got the team. Everything is put into place. Let's build the team. Invite your friends, invite your families, and let's build this team of people that are like-minded, and let's go make some things happen. Now's the time.
And next week we're gonna have the Perry's gonna howl for us like the wolf, and let you know how the symbol of the wolf pack.
I think my in South Texas when that happens.
But at least we'll have one of those sound effects doing it, But I'm gonna get Perry to record it though.
We can do that. All
right. Okay, well, look, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you coming out. Join us next week, 6:30, Thursday evening, for Deal Architect Live, and we'll see you then.
Outstanding. I look forward to it. Thanks for